Well, the Vulcan left me stranded a couple blocks from my house. Thankfully, I was able to walk it home, but the rectifier, I don't know, it just fried, completely melted the connection and the wires, and it just died on me, and I had to push it home. So anyway, I got to repair the Vulcan. I got a new rectifier through Amazon, actually. Thankfully, it's like 20 bucks or so, and a good new connector and wires, and I'm gonna get that repaired and put back together. And unfortunately, I made the decision to sell it. uh, it's an old bike. It's a 95, and I'm tired of constantly working on this bike every weekend. Stuff's just wearing out, and it's you can't even find all the parts for it. It's so old. Unfortunately, Kawasaki doesn't even make some of the parts for this bike anymore, so you have to go through a junkyard, and I don't even have a junkyard in my county in the any within like 600 miles of where I live. So yeah, it was time to make that decision to sell it, and I bought a new bike, and here she is. 2023 Yamaha XSR 900 triple, 3 pistons, and this thing is a beast. Please ignore my garage. I know it's a mess. I haven't been able to clean it up, but that's coming soon. I got to clean this garage up and make it look a little more presentable. This bike is a beast. I love it. Totally love it. It's fuel injected. There's less tuning up the bike and all that, and it was a really good price. It was about $13,000. Maybe just a few dollars over 13,000. Okay. And yes, I'm so dedicated to this purchase that I sold my 2017 Toyota Tacoma and got a good price for it, and I was able to pay off what I owed and then purchase this bike. Of course, the wife wasn't a big fan of that, but hey, love it or leave it, baby. Right? I love this headlight. I love that retro headlight. And compared to the MT-09, to me, it looks so much better. And you got the gold forks. I love those gold forks. I love this blue. Not sure what color of the blue, but it's beautiful. I love it. And of course, you got the gold rims. I love the gold rims. And you can tell this bike's a beast by just looking at the front of it. Look how wide the front of that bike is behind the forks. This bike, honestly, like looking at older videos of the Honda Nighthawk, to me, this is real similar in the way this bike performs. It's like a Honda Nighthawk. And I mean, going from 0 to 130, 135, it'll get you there quick, insanely quick. This is not a beginner bike by any means. Now, I'm not a big fan of the mirrors. I love the lane split, and I'm telling you, those mirrors stick out way too far, about 4 inches on either side of those handlebars, which gives you an extra 8 inches across, left to right. And you better watch it. If you're going to leave those mirrors on, you better choose your lane splitting carefully. If you don't have enough room between the vehicles, don't even try it, man. You're going to end up breaking one of those mirrors off or damaging someone else's vehicle as well. But I mean, you know, you can ditch them and then get the mirrors that come underneath and down over here on the bottom side like that, and then you wouldn't have that issue. Which I'm thinking about doing. I just don't want to spend that money right now. I'm just going to leave it the way it is for a little while. I did buy a radiator guard, which didn't come standard with the purchase of the vehicle. That's how these people are, man. That's how these companies are. They just, you know, there's certain things they don't come standard, but they're kind of necessary. And they're going to charge you a lot, you know, for those additional items. So I bought a radiator guard, and I bought a fairing for the light, a plastic fairing. It's kind of a smoke color, and I want to do that and put that on. But first, I'm going to do the radiator guard, which I have right here. And to me, honestly, I mean, it's, you know, it is cool. It has the painted XSR on it, right? But I mean, it's relatively simple, right? I mean, there's not a lot to it, okay? And you have these 4 little brackets with like a oval, little small oval type hole on either, you know, on each side of it. But I mean, that's it. And then you have these, comes with these foam, like 12 pieces of this foam that has a sticky portion once you peel this off right here on this one end. And you got to put that on the back side of this radiator guard. And they gave you 4 zip ties. Woohoo! Zip ties? Really? Wow. I thought there'd be like bolts or something. And it was like $110 for that. But, I mean, if you're behind traffic with, you know, dualies especially, or trucks that are sitting up high with no mud flaps, you're going to eat rocks, man. And, you know, I guess this radiator is like pretty pricey from Yamaha. It's like a $600 radiator or something like that. So, honestly, I think it is worth the investment and to get this extra protection, this extra radiator guard to protect from rocks hitting the radiator. But yeah, that was just, it was kind of a common sense thing that, and I made that decision. Hey, $100, $110, it's worth it. So I got that, and I got, like I said, that fairing, which I'll show you in a later video. A plastic fairing that slides over this light and kind of comes up over the IMU. And man, let me tell you, this bike is so techy. Wow, it's incredible. But there's a whole lot of stuff you can do with this bike. And I actually do like how it has 4 power modes, you know, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when it's raining and wet, and you make that decision to go to, you know, travel, you know, 20, 30 miles to go to work, and you decide to take it in the rain, you could put it in mode 4, which really tones the bike down. It tones the power output of the engine down to where you're not gonna spin out. You know, you're not going to lose control on the wet road and go down, which I like. I don't like the fact that they got no power now, but hey, if you're going to ride in the rain, you got to tone it down a little bit, you know? And it's got cruise control. I love that. It's kind of cool. Especially if you want to give your right hand a brake from the throttle and everything. Of course, this menu has this wheel, and you can push it in, and you could work everything from this wheel right here, which actually isn't bad once you get used to it and comfortable with it and know how to navigate on the computer with that wheel on your right side there. It's really not bad at all. I know some people complain about it, and I've watched videos people complain about it. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I've done it on the fly while I'm riding. I've changed modes. Here's your mode button right here, and your up and down, and you could switch all your modes and your lift control, all that stuff, slide control on the fly while you're riding, and it's really not that bad. It's, you know, of course, the winter time now, November 23, and I got some, not too bulky, but, some bulky gloves for the protect my hands from the cold, and I could still do it just fine. So, oh, I really love this too. This little high beam, and you got your pass. So you hit the pass, and you hit it like that, and it's gonna make your light go to high beam, flicker out, flicker on, and come off. So that way you could warn cross traffic, on the side of the road that's going to be turning possibly onto your lane, that you're coming to not come out. And it's kind of saved me a couple times. Only had the bike for a few weeks now, but it has. I mean, it's I really love it. It's just so. And I tell you what, man, compared to that old Kawasaki, the Kawasaki has a very plush seat, way better than this. I'm not a big fan of this seat. It's not the shape. People say, oh, it's the shape. It sucks. I don't like it. It looks like crap. But that doesn't bother me at all. I actually like it. Call me crazy, but I actually like it. But right here, for the main driver, dude, you ain't got nothing, man. And I tell you, if you don't got a big ass on you, and you got a narrow ass like me, oh yeah, you're gonna feel it after a while, especially after an hour ride. It's not comfortable at all. You start feeling it. Oh, and with that, the handlebars are a tad bit low. So the body position, your arms are kind of down, instead of up or neutral, or like flat, 0 degrees, or a little bit higher, which is, to me, is really comfortable when you're riding a bike. These are on the low side, and I'm getting older. I'm 45, and I tell you, it kind of beats me up after a while. I get those knots going on behind my neck, right below the neck, in the back area, the upper back. After a long ride, I actually bought this bike in Sacramento, California, from a dealership, PCP Motorsports, and I drove it all the way back to where I live, which is in Hanford, which is, it's about 300 miles. Let me tell you, if you've never had a bike like this and you decide to buy one and just I'm going to drive it back to my house 300 miles, which is like close to 3 hour ride, man, I was hurting, okay? Brutal. Freaking brutal. But now that I've been riding it for a couple of weeks, my muscles are kind of getting used to that position. And it's not so much of an issue. And like for my commute, it's only 20 minutes. So, man, it doesn't bother me at all. Now, if you're going to ride this bike, if you want to buy a bike that's for long commuting or doing long trips, with friends or whatever, honestly, this is not the bike. It is not going to be comfortable for that type of riding. I'm just giving my honest opinion, all right? But it's a beautiful machine. If you're not riding more than an hour, it's fine. Anything more than an hour, yeah, you're not going to like it. But I've considered maybe getting a different seat just for more padding right here. But I'm just going to hold off on that for now. And actually, you look down here. Of course, you got a chain on this bike, so, that requires extra maintenance. About once a week, I got to clean it and add extra wax onto it, chain wax and whatnot, to prolong the life of the chain. It's not too bad, though. I take this guard completely apart here, this plastic guard for the chain, and I kind of pop it up and over the tire just a little bit where I can access more of the chain, and then I have my special brush and my cleaner and my wax, and it's not too bad at all. It doesn't. Now, I added these spools. You see these spools? This is for my motorcycle lift that I bought. I bought a Pitbull motorcycle lift for the rear. Man, I love that lift. It's all manual. You just pop it underneath here and you push down on the handle on the back. It pops the bike up, bam, and you could rotate this tire and spin the chain and work the chain around and clean it and do all what you got to do with the maintenance. And also you can do your tension. You can tighten or loosen this chain. It's real easy. I'll do a video on that in case anybody has this bike. But oh yeah, a lot of people, almost forgot. A lot of people, they hate that freaking license plate. Apparatus. I don't know what you want to call it, but so they get rid of this, and they'll get the tail tidy, where they can remove this and they can rewire everything and put the lights back and the license plate back around here somewhere underneath the seat. And I gotta admit, yeah, it does look good. It does look clean. I'm not a big fan of that thing sticking off the back of the seat, but you gotta think about this, right? This thing is designed. You see how it's designed? It's gonna, if you're riding in wet weather or any kind of dirt or on the road or whatever, it's gonna fling up. Okay, but if you have this stock license plate and this fender here on, it's gonna prevent all that from hitting your back. It's gonna fling up and hit your back and get you all nasty on the back of you. So that's something to think about. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look as cool as not having it and having the tail tidy and having the license plate and those turn signals and brake, well, actually the brake light's right here. It's just kind of cool. It's right up underneath the seat. It's clear plastic. I like it. It's pretty cool at night or in the morning when it's dark. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to leave this on. I always have people say, oh, you got to get rid of that. Get the tail tidy, man. But, I mean, it's functional. It works really good for what it's intended to do. And so it'll stop that stuff from flinging up and hitting your back. It might be on the road. And then you have this nice flat spot, man. When you get off the bike, you can put your gloves, take your gloves off, put your gloves right here, take your helmet off. I mean, it's just, to me, it's convenient. And I really bought this bike as a commuter for work. And of course, to have fun. I mean, come on. And yes, I cannot drive this bike 55, okay? I'm just going to say it like that. I'm not a big wheelie guy, especially on a new bike. This bike will wheelie like no tomorrow, okay? It's very easy to get that front wheel up. And that's without popping the clutch. That's just giving it gas in the right gear. You're going to come up off the ground, okay? So be prepared for that. Now you can use the computer, and you could use the lift control to where it won't do that. Okay, it won't pop up when you hit it, give it the gas. So you could always activate that function and not have to worry about it. Or you can just drive it normal and drive it easy, however you want, right? Everyone's got their little way of how they want to do things and ride. But yeah, I just love the way this bike looks. And I love the fit and finish on this bike. I really do. Some people complain about this little gap here. I don't know, man. It's fine, dude. It doesn't really bother me at all. But this bike, I tell you, it rides like a dream. I mean, this could easily be a track bike, even though it doesn't go 180. Okay, 200 or whatever. It goes like maybe 135 maxed out. But let me tell you, you'll get to that 135 faster than anything. I mean, it's doubtful anybody could actually beat you on this bike on the road going from 0 to 135. Doubtful. Yeah, there's some other bikes that could do it. Yeah, there might be some supercars that maybe could do it. But I'm telling you, this bike is insane. It really is. And it's just a thrill to ride. I love it. And for $13,000, honestly, that's not a lot of money for a good sport bike. A good commuter bike. So I did a lot of research on this bike, by the way, before I bought it. I just didn't buy it. Just, hey, I'm going to go to the bike store and look at bikes today, and then bought it. No. Man, I looked at this specific bike and all the videos you could think of on YouTube, for about 8 months before I decided to buy it and was committed. Sold my truck and got the extra cash to get it, you know. And by the way, it was brutal. I had to wait like 4 months to get the bike from once I actually placed the order. They just kept getting delayed. I mean, this came straight from Japan, from overseas, and I don't know if it was the port, you know, over here in the U.S. that just got tied up. But man, I was just like, I was about ready to give up and just lose my $200 deposit and just go get another bike, get an MT-09. Which, by the way, the MT-09, if you haven't heard, it's the same power plant as this bike. Exact same engine, transmission. Just a different look. And so, yeah, well, but the thing of it is the MT-09, the front headlight, I don't know if you've seen them, but I don't know. They just don't look good to me. I like this look here. I really do. I like the round headlight. And, oh, and by the way, this bike is a little bit, has a little bit lower seat height than the MT-09 by about an inch, I think, actually. Close to an inch. And I'm really short, man. I got like 30-inch inseam. So this is like one of the lowest seat height sport bikes, I believe, on the market right now. So if you're a short guy like me, this bike will fit you perfect, man. Like, I don't sit flat-footed, I ain't gonna lie. But I'm not on my tippy toes either. I'm kind of like halfway in between flat-footed and on tippy toes, you know? And if I lean over to one side, I can go flat-footed. And it's not a drastic lean or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I make it work just fine. And stopping, coming to work and stopping, you know, making a right-hand turn, stopping, and then backing into the stall where I park at work, not an issue. It really isn't. So, if you're a short guy, you'll love this bike. And then again, I've heard the tall guys say they're not a big fan of this bike. It's a little too short. So keep that in mind too if you're a tall guy. This might not work for you, man. But if you could find one at a dealership, you could sit on it. Now, that's the best way to figure out if it's going to be good for you or not. Yeah, I love this bike. Honestly, I'd give it 9.5 out of 10. And I don't do that very often, but I mean, I have really no complaints. The bike just really just hugs the road. I don't care what you do. Curves, cornering. It just hugs the road, man. It's just such a sweet ride. The shocks are good. The brakes are excellent. It's got a Brembo master cylinder. And I mean, I have no issue at all flying and then coming to a stop with, you know, and it has the ABS, so you're not going to go into a skid, which is nice. I love those brackets that hold the lights. It's so cool. Like a nice little retro look there. I was born in the 70s, so I like that retro. But yeah, this bike is just sweet, man. I already broke it in. 600 miles is the break-in. And then I changed the oil and the filter and whatnot. And then I added this stuff called Maxi Lube. And man, it's an anti-friction metal treatment. And I added like 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces when I did the oil change. I filled it up with the proper amount of oil. It's like I don't know. I think it's 3 3/8 quarts. So it's like almost a gallon, but not quite. And so now it's broke in, so I could smash on it when I want to and not worry about it. Before I did the break in, I didn't I tried to stay out of the orange on the computer screen there. And when it when it hit orange right away, I would just either back off the throttle or shift gears until I got that 600 miles, give it a nice easy break in. and not go too crazy on it. But man, for freeway riding or any other kind of riding, this bike has all the power you need to pass people. I mean, I've passed people in 6th gear and it'll just go. Surprisingly, in 6th gear, top gear, man, it still has pull, a little bit of pull. Pull enough to just go cruise around people and get by people if you're passing in that gear. A couple days ago, I was driving it to work, and I didn't realize the power of it yet, you know. And I went to pass, and I had it in like 3rd, hammered it, man. I popped it into 4th, but I really hammered it on the gas. And when I hit 4th and hammered it, I came up, man. Probably a good 6 inches off the ground. I was like, dang. So I let off the throttle real quick, let it hit back down, both wheels. And then I just eased up on the throttle. But man, this bike's a beast. Don't be fooled by it. It's a small bike, but don't be fooled by it. You know, 900cc triple. No joke. Totally love this bike. And by the way, I have hit 130, 135, and that's plenty fast, man. You don't need to go faster than that. On a naked bike, you really don't. That's more than enough top end speed. I know guys that want to get the ECU flashed and they want to, you know, put it on a dyno, do the modified exhaust, and push it up to 150 on the top end. I mean, that's not too much faster than 130. It is a little bit, but I mean, if you want the speed, the top end speed, this is not the bike to get for you. Okay, you're better off just buying a strictly sport bike. Okay, like a 600, you know, 4-cylinder sport bike, or a liter bike, 1,000, you know, cc bike, sport bike. But if you want to have fun and smile from ear to ear every time you ride a bike, and have a good commuting bike, whether you're in town or whether you're going, you know, like I do, like 20 minutes out of town to another town to go to work, this is the bike for you, man. I'm telling you. And it looks good. It's got curb appeal, you know. It's a beautiful bike. And it's like I said, it's comfortable if you're not riding more than an hour to go somewhere. If you are, you're going to have to take, you know, a break, get off the bike, take a 15-minute break, stretch, you know, walk around, and then get back on it and then go another hour or whatever you got to do. Yeah, this is not, I didn't buy this bike for a passenger. You know, it has the nice little passenger that click and lock in. The foot pegs for the passenger, and they're going to obviously sit right here. That's not what I bought the bike for. You know, I may take my wife around town with it like that, you know, 2-up, but we're not going to be like touring or traveling far with this bike 2-up. It's just not that kind of bike. Okay? It has the capability to do that, but it's just not going to be comfortable. All right? So, keep that in mind too. And like I said, my old Vulcan, that's one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden on. I could ride that bike for hours and hours and be comfortable. But this is not that bike. And man, I tell you, if I was a millionaire or hit the, you know, lotto or whatever, I would have every different kind of bike you could think of, at least probably 6 different bikes, you know, for different occasions, you know, depending on what you're going to be doing. I'd obviously have a cruiser. I love cruisers. They're comfortable. For like long road trips, I'd have me a bike like this. I'd have me a sport bike, strictly sport bike, and take it to the track. Maybe an enduro, you know, those are fun too. Every bike has a purpose, so you got to really think about your lifestyle and your intended purpose for this bike. Is it just going to be like a weekend thing? Is it going to be a commuting thing where you're using it every day? You got to take that all into consideration before you decide to buy any particular type of bike, right? So, yeah, I'm going to show you in a later this next video, how to install the radiator guard if you decide to buy one, and also maybe the video after that show you how to do the headlight fairing plastic fairing.